Communicourt was set up a couple of years ago. It was when I was working with witnesses who had learning disabilities, and I became more and more aware that very often the defendant also had learning disabilities, but there was no clear guidance as to who could be an effective defendant intermediary. Communicourt intermediaries are highly trained professionals. They have already, before they come to Communicourt, been trained with a degree in speech and language therapy. Then, after they've joined Communicourt, we train them in the legal aspects, not to be lawyers, but to understand how court works, so that when they carry out an assessment with the client, they're able to link their findings on the assessment specifically to what that person will need in court. There's also ongoing training and supervision to maintain their skills by way of quarterly team weekends, ongoing supervision, watching and observing each other in court and giving feedback. Solicitors usually realise that their client has difficulties in instructing them and understanding the case against them, and then wonder where to go for help. By Googling for an intermediary, they may come up with Communicourt, and then we're able to then look at whether or not that person has learning disability, mental health needs, perhaps they've had a head injury, perhaps they're just young and immature, and then give guidance on how that person will best be able to cope in court.
Okay.
Registered intermediaries are registered with the Witness Intermediary Scheme for working with witnesses. This is a scheme run by the Ministry of Justice. There's currently no statute for intermediaries working with defendants, and therefore we need to call ourselves non-registered intermediaries, even though we may also be registered when we're working with witnesses. Communicourt is developing fast. We do have a bank of intermediaries that are working in the criminal and family courts, but more and more we're being asked to do other work, for example, as expert witnesses commenting on people's communication, or perhaps looking at police interviews and seeing whether or not the person will have actually understood the ABE, the Achieving Best Evidence video that the police have carried out with them. The great thing for me about this job is that every day is like a new day. I'm meeting new people, I'm going to new courts, I'm working with new clients, and I'm working with clients with varying disabilities and communication disorders. And more I realise that the people that we're working with are people who are victims of society, people that are victims in their own right, who may not have had the support that they needed, who may have not had the communication help, and the last thing they need at this stage in their life is to not understand the trial against them. It's not for us to judge whether they're guilty or not guilty. That's for the jury or for the judge or the magistrates. Ours is to make sure that they have a fair trial.